New evidence revealed in the murders of college students Ethan, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee as a search warrant is unsealed. We have all the details of what was found inside the apartment of the accused mass murderer. And tonight, we'll go through the evidence piece by piece with our own experts. Will prosecutors be able to connect the defendant to the scene of the crime?
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us here on Closing Arguments. The case in Idaho, this is not a case with direct evidence. There is no eyewitness to the actual murders. There's a witness who sees someone afterwards, but doesn't witness the actual murders. There's no video of the murders, and there's no confession. So what do we have? We've got video. We've got video of the suspect's car circling around the area outside of that house, going back and forth. We've got that car visiting before the murders as well. So the white Elantra and the video of the white Elantra, crucial piece of circumstantial evidence for prosecutors to try to get that suspect from Pullman, Washington into Moscow, Idaho. Second crucial piece, those cell phone pings. Pinging everywhere. Those cell phone pings, sometimes coinciding with the video, other times pinging when there is no video, and sometimes we have video when there are no pings. But you put these pieces together, it's like a puzzle. Circumstantial evidence. How many times have you heard a prosecutor talk about the pieces of the puzzle that you've got to put together to prove the case? So the cell phone, again, is circumstantial evidence. It can prove that someone is there or the cell phone is there. And then you're gonna say, well, the cell phone's there, then he's there, and we see his car there. So you put all of that together, you're like, okay, now all of a sudden you've got this defendant not home in his apartment, but you've got him out of his apartment. You've got him in Moscow. You've got him right next to the home where the 4 college students were murdered. So what else do you need? You can get him outside the house, right? So that's important, to get him in the neighborhood. It's a college town. You know, there's a lot of people moving around, people seeing things, people, driving in, driving out for different reasons. But he's from Pullman, Washington. Does he have a reason to be outside the house? Now, something we've learned, 2 people survived who were inside the house. We know there was a DoorDash delivery as well. So you now have to get this defendant inside that house. And how do you do that? How do you prove to this jury that he's actually inside the home? Again, more circumstantial evidence, evidence of circumstances that say, okay, you put it together, that would put him there. And I think what was unsealed today in a search warrant could lead investigators there, could get the prosecution there, could get the jury there to be convinced that, yeah, this defendant, this suspect, was inside that home and has a connection to these victims. So today, an unsealing of a search warrant, and part of that is a list of the items that were actually seized. So let's take a look at some of these items. We begin with one nitrite-type black glove. Black glove, that's kind of like a surgical glove. I mean, if you're going to commit a murder, that's something you would certainly want. You've got a Walmart receipt with one Dickies tag. We don't know what's on the receipt, but is he buying something that could be connected to all of this? 2 Marshall's receipts. Again, we don't know what's on the receipt, but investigators do. This one is fascinating, a dust container from a Bissell Power Force vacuum, again, inside the suspect's home. Was he cleaning anything up? What would be inside that vacuum? 8 possible hair strands. Whose hair? Whose hair? Will they be able to match someone to these hair strands? And could they possibly match it to one of the victims? There would be no innocent reason for one of the victim's strands of hair to be in his apartment, would there? A Fire TV stick with a cord and plug. This one, I don't have a Fire TV stick, but my understanding is you can store information on there. You can go shopping on Amazon. There's other things you can do with it. Maybe you can look up news reports as well. I don't know what information they'll be able to get from that, but seems like it's significant. This one, wow, one possible animal hair strand. Did he have a pet? One of the victims had a pet. One possible hair, another possible hair, and another possible hair. If any of these match those victims, huge for the prosecution. Computer tower, we know the age we live in. There's so much potential information from a computer tower. What are you searching? What are you looking at? What are you reading? How about social media? What pictures are you browsing? Where are you? When are you there? When are you in your apartment? When are you not there? Unbelievable information from a computer. Then we've got three more things. A collection of a dark red spot collected without testing. Red spot, is it blood? Whose blood is it? 2 cuttings from an uncased pillow of reddish-brown stain. The larger stain has been tested. We don't know the results. 2 top and bottom mattress cover packaged separately, both labeled C, multiple stains. What are the stains? Who are they connected to? I'm telling you, folks, this could be enormous for the prosecution. They already have great evidence, but you don't know what any particular juror's their own concept of what a reasonable doubt is. And if they can't put the defendant inside that house, that could be the reasonable doubt for one or more jurors. So it's significant. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter. Not in Idaho tonight, but right here on set. Great to see you, Chanley.
Tonight,
and
inside.
Warm. Exactly. So tell us more about these documents that were unsealed today.
Yeah,
this is big.
It was huge, Vinny, because remember last week on your show, I'm telling you about the order to seal this affidavit of the apartment, and we were speculating what all it could reveal to us that they were looking for inside the apartment, and now we have our hands on most of it. And the reason they unsealed this yesterday, according to the file stamp, is because it's a different state, Washington State, Whitman County, where his apartment is, in Moscow. They cited the Moscow affidavit, the arrest affidavit, being so extensive, 18 pages, that this really didn't. It's pretty much no what is in this affidavit. So they released it, and as it's unsealed, we learned that they were looking on December 30th, where we have video of the Washington State University Police Department searching the apartment on the 2nd floor, Unit 201, taking boxes out from that apartment, spending time doing that at the request of Moscow Police Department, looking for, like what you said, trace evidence. Cell phone, other cell phones, computers, digital towers, things like that. But now, I told you about the first 18 pages. This affidavit goes page 19 through 31. So here's some things that stick out to me that we maybe didn't know. So on page 19, where it picks up with something new, it says the Keene Road residence contained a significant amount of blood from the victims, including spatter and cast off, which is the bloodstain pattern resulting from blood drops released from an object, the murder weapon, due to its motion, which, based on the training of this officer, makes it likely that this evidence was transferred onto Kohberger's person, his clothing, or his shoes. So that's why we're seeing these items seized of clothes at his home, the receipts of clothes purchased possibly that he may have worn. Dickies, they make bibs that covers most of your body, right? That could have been what he purchased. So they're looking for, and we knew it was a bloody crime scene, right? I showed you what we presumed to be blood leaking out the walls outside.
Out of the side, yeah. Shocking.
So a couple other things that stood out to me in this affidavit. So we knew that he was a student there, but we didn't know for sure, based on his cross-country trip to Pennsylvania with his dad, if he intended to do the spring semester, return to school. That's a long drive.
Right. So
this affidavit does say that he intended to return.
He was going to stay.
He was going to stay.
He was going to stay right in Washington.
For the next semester. This is what this affidavit reads. Also revealing to me, Vinny, they did not find a murder weapon in this apartment. And with the gag order, we don't know if they found it. They wouldn't tell us, but we can know for sure that at the time this search warrant was written, they didn't have it, and then they didn't seize it there. They didn't find it. So that's still missing. We knew he lived alone, but this confirms he lived alone. I was at that apartment building knocking on neighbors' doors. We pretty much knew that. And you mentioned pet hair. There's no mention of a pet from any of the neighbors I talked to. And I think there'd be more than just one hair if there was actually a pet living
If there was a pet there, and there'd be a pet, right? I mean, when he's arrested or there'd be a pet in that room, in that apartment.
Exactly. So, and then something else, this search warrant also requests to search his office on campus. His apartment's on campus too, but at the criminology building. I've been there and did some sleuthing. We went inside the building. We tried to find his office, Vinny. It's in the basement, but the outer door was locked, but you could see kind of through where the students' offices would be located. So they searched that, but this doesn't reveal anything that they seized from that search in this particular unsealed document. And then finally, I know we talked about this last week, I was interested to see if this mentioned or seized any shoes because of that latent footprint or shoe print that was found at the crime scene. Were they looking for him to have that style of shoe? It's not specifically mentioned in here, and they didn't seize, obviously, any shoes.
Yeah, I mean, if they saw a shoe that matched, they would have seized it, and unless their shoes were found somewhere else, which I couldn't imagine, or were they the shoes that he was wearing when he's arrested? True. Shoes could be where the murder weapon is as well.
Exactly.
You know, which could be pretty much anywhere.
And what was bought on the receipts or at the stores.
Exactly. So those receipts are crucial, and they know what's on the receipt, but we don't know what's on the receipt. So, you know, you look at this. What are your thoughts about the Fire Stick and the TV? That was the only one that's a little confusing.
I don't
to me.
have one of those either, but I hear that you can do many things with this. Search the internet with it, you know, watch things, store things with it. Even illegal things I've researched, maybe you can download.
Right.
I'm not sure, but that's interesting. Who knows what they could find on that? And as we know, they can also find deleted things on a lot of these electronics as well.
Which, again, I mean, he's studying this stuff. He's probably going to try to cover his tracks, but you know, everything we're looking at, he didn't do the greatest job. Exactly. If in fact he is the killer here, because everything seems to be pointing in that direction. And it all started with the video, the cell phone, and now we'll see what they were able to get. It'll be interesting to see if there's any blood or hair that is connected to any of the victims that could have been brought back from the scene. All right, Chanley, great job. It's great that she can be warm tonight, and we will speak again. When we come back, folks, we are going to go through this evidence piece by piece with our experts, our forensic experts, our investigators, to get a better idea of what it could actually lead to, what it could mean, and again, answer the ultimate question. Could it put this defendant in contact with one or more of the victims? We've got all that, plus coming up next hour.
Breaking news in Santa Fe, New Mexico. In less than 24 hours, A-list celebrity and actor Alec Baldwin will find out if he will be charged with a crime for shooting and killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins. It's been 15 months since Baldwin killed her, and tomorrow the DA will make her announcement.
I take the gun out, and as I take it, as it clears, as the barrel clears, I turn and cock the gun over here. I turn and cock the gun goes off. It's supposed to be a cold gun.
The life of Alec Murdaugh is bizarre. It is complicated.
Disgraced South Carolina attorney is charged with the murders of his own wife and son.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Who exactly is this guy?
Everybody knows the Murdaughs. It's a household name.
A family that is so powerful. Who knows where this thing is going to end?
This case needs to be resolved. We need to put this behind us and move on.
Murdaugh Family Murders. Live coverage beginning Monday morning, only on Court TV.
We usually go to Idaho a lot, like for Dutch Bros or Target. So like knowing it was just like right down the road, like 10 minutes, that I go there like once or twice a week, it like made me like less willing to go out there. like I would have to like go out there with somebody. I think he like actually lives really close to my apartment, so that even felt like even more scary.
Yeah, that's really scary when an accused mass murderer lives close to your apartment, the man that everyone was looking for. Well, now he's in custody, and today the search warrant and the probable cause affidavit attached to that search warrant and the items seized from his apartment was unsealed. Unsealed. So I want to go through these pieces of evidence with my experts. Let me bring in my guests. Joining me tonight in Columbia, South Carolina, retired medical examiner, forensic pathologist, former law enforcement officer, Dr. Michelle Dupree. We're just connecting up with her in just a second. In Oceanside, New York, Professor Emeritus of Forensic Science at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, Dr. Lawrence Kobylinski. And in Salt Lake City, Utah, private investigator Jason Jensen. Great to have you both here. Dr. Dupree will be with us in just a second. Let me begin with the first three items on the list. You've got one nitrite-type black glove, one Walmart receipt with one Dickies tag, two Marshall's receipts, and then I want to remind everyone what's in this probable cause affidavit. As Chanley reported to us, the King Road residence contained a significant amount of blood from the victims, including spatter and cast-off blood-stained pattern resulting from blood drops released from an object due to its motion, which, based on my training, makes it likely that this evidence was transferred to the defendant's person, clothing or shoes. Also, the detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans-type shoe sole just outside the door of Dylan's bedroom located on the second floor. All right, Dr. Kobylinski, let's begin with that black glove. This, again, is not found at the scene, but is found, and Dr. Dupree is with us. Great to see you. And this is not found at the scene, Dr. K, but it's found at the apartment of the suspect. What could possibly be on that black nitrate glove, and how difficult would it be to get evidence from it? I'm not hearing Dr. K. Is he muted? Are we muted? We're checking on that. 1 second.
Back?
He's back. We got you.
Okay, I'm back. I think that the glove is not a nitrite glove. It's a nitrile glove. And its significance is not really clear. There may very well be some evidence on it. It'll be chemically tested. It'll be looked at with all kinds of different lighting systems to see if there are anything obvious, any stains, any kind of chemicals. I'm really not sure that it's that crucial a piece of evidence, to be honest with you. Although we know that the killer was wearing gloves at the time that this was done. But there's nothing to compare it, though, because we do not have the evidence from the crime scene.
Jason Jensen, Walmart receipt, two Marshall's receipts, perhaps for clothing. We know he was clad in black that night. Might be able to put two and two together here.
Right. If he purchased these clothes in order to commit a crime, they're hoping that they can go back to these particular stores, see any surveillance footage to see exactly what he bought. If it's all black attire, it's kind of self-explanatory. He wanted to be able to move in the dark of night.
And we know that Dylan, the witness, saw the killer clad in black. All right, let's get to some more of these items that were seized from the apartment. A dust container from a Bissell Power Force vacuum, 8 possible hair strands, 1 Fire TV stick with a cord and plug, 1 possible animal hair strand, 3 more possible hair strands. Don't forget that Murphy, Kaylee's dog, was in the room when police responded to the house on Sunday around noon. We've got there you see Murphy in the background there. So Murphy was at the scene. Dr. Michelle Dupree, let's start with the human hair. What are your thoughts about it looks like 11 possible strands of hair. What can be done with that?
Those actual hair strands can be checked for DNA and checked against the victims as well as the alleged suspect.
And Is it definitive? You have a hair strand? That's it? That's all you need?
If you have the end of the hair strand, you may test that for DNA, and that would be definitive.
What if you don't have the end?
It's much more difficult. You can test for likenesses and consistent with, but it's not necessarily definitive.
Dr. K, what do you think about this animal hair? What can we do with that?
It could be very significant. You talk to any pet owner, and they will tell you that part of their pet is on their clothing. I look at my jacket right now. I probably have my cat's hair all over me. It clings, static electricity. There's a lot of literature on DNA analysis of various domesticated animals. People often want their animals, to be proven to be, the right breed. Makes it worth a lot more. So, there's a lot of DNA work, and clearly, if you find a hair, dog hair, amongst that evidence that was just collected, and it matches DNA-wise the hair of Murphy, that puts him at the scene.
That devastating. I mean, could it come down to one dog hair for this jury? Amazing. All right, let me ask you, Jason Jensen, about this Fire stick, this Fire TV stick with a cord and plug. What type of information do you think they could garner there?
A Fire Stick will actually have apps for your TV that you're using, and sometimes you can have browser history on it, and you can also use it as a flash drive because it has 8 gigabytes of memory. So oftentimes if I'm in a pinch, I'll use any kind of device that has a USB port to transfer a file. So it's entirely possible that he hides specific files like photo images or something like that on the Fire Stick. So it's worth collecting, if nothing else, just to rule out the possibilities.
Dr. Michelle Dupree, your thoughts about the dust container from the vacuum at the suspect's apartment?
Well, this is very interesting because there's something called Locard's theory of exchange. And what that means is any person coming into the crime scene brings something with them from their home, their car, their yard, but they also take something with them when they leave that crime scene. And so analyzing that dust is going to give us possibly some trace evidence that can be linked back to the suspect, to his house, to his car, or whatever.
Dr. K, how difficult will it be to go through I've never seen this before, but a dust container from a vacuum?
Oh, it's hard. It's done under magnification. Sometimes microscopes have to be used. But yeah, trace evidence is very important. And if they do find something that links to the crime scene, again, you've got very, very important evidence there. In fact, crime scene people actually use handheld vacuums to go through a scene to pick up trace evidence. So here it's done already. He's left it for us.
And I wonder if the car, I'm sure the car must have been cleaned out, and I wonder if he used this for the car, for his room afterwards. All right, let's take a look at this one now. The computer tower, to me, that could be a treasure trove. The application for the search warrant, they were asking or looking for any images, digital or on paper, or of any other format which show Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, BF, one of the roommates, and/or DM, or the 1122 King Road house and/or surrounding neighborhood. They also were looking for data compilations, whether digital, electronic, showing an interest in or planning of murder, violent assault, stabbing, and/or cutting of people, data compilations showing details of the crime scene house, its location, or information about any of the victims. Jason, again, this is another very significant potential source for information.
Oh, yeah. Either before the crime or after the crime. It's good for both, because if he's interested in how to dispose of a body or something like that, like the Brian Walsh situation, that could be in part of his search memory. If he's had social media contacts with any of the victims, which we know in recent reportings that they're supposedly some kind of contact that he had with one of the victims multiple times sliding into the DM is what they keep saying. So if he's had any contacts with the victims, if he's searching for himself afterwards, like he's obsessed, any new news about the killer, it's all circumstantial, suggesting that he's got something to be concerned over.
Absolutely. We're just about out of time, but Dr. K, the dark red spot, the 2 cuttings from the pillow, the mattress cover packaged separately with multiple stains, how would the blood of the victims potentially end up in his apartment?
Well, he may have transferred blood from his body or his clothing or somehow into his apartment and maybe got onto his pillow and his mattress cover. It's really hard to say, but the main thing is it's very simple to test and determine whose blood it is, if it's blood.
And again,
and if that links to a victim, that's you're home free.
It's game over. That's game over. So they've got chances with the potential for blood, hair, plus all that digital evidence. Dr. Michelle Dupree, Dr. Kobylinski, Jason Jensen, thank you all so